Hey everyone, it's Fish Slim again with another quick tip that I hope will help you, especially in cold weather conditions, to get the most out of your plastics. Yes, I live up here in Ohio and we have a lot of cold water that we deal with when we fish. And a lot of the guys in the other northern states will really appreciate, I think, this tip as well. That's something that we have to deal with. And that is that once we start using our swim baits or other plastics in the cold weather months, we tend to lose a lot of the action of the bait due to the cold water. It stiffens the plastic. So what do? Well, naturally, we usually end up getting a bigger jig, and then we cast it, and what do? We reel it faster. But is that really what we want to be doing? Aren't we defeating the purpose of what we want that swim bait or that tail to do? We want it to work slowly through the water in those cold conditions, but still have that action that's going to attract those fish to eat it. So how can we get the most action out of the baits we're using? This is a swim bait. We're going to use this one for an example. This is a Big Joshy swim bait. It is designed up here in Ohio, and it has been designed to work in cold water conditions, even with a very light jig. But even it can stiffen up. So this tip is about what we can do to see how we can make these baits work the best in cold water. Now, we're going to put a little note here. Maybe you'll want to grab a couple older plastic baits that you have and practice this a few times, because there is some tugging involved. And that way you'll understand the importance of not pulling too hard and maybe tearing your bait in half. Why is that important? Because when we think about it, our plastics from one color to another definitely have a difference in stiffness. Why is that? Well, it's due to the powders, maybe the flake, the amount that's in them will literally make some baits stiffer than others. So by learning and understanding, especially in cold, how that coincides with how the action of that bait will be, when you start working with this bait to loosen it up, you'll start to recognize how much you should do. Another thing you might do, if you're outside and you're fishing, warm it up a little bit. Yeah, put it in your hands and blow on it. Get it a little warmer. That'll help with doing this. So here's the tip. Literally take the swim bait, put it in your fingers. Now go to the other end, and this could be plastics. Tails you got to be a lot more careful with. This is basically swim baits, different things like that. But what you do is grab it in the tail and start to pull till you feel that tension and release. Do that 2 or 3 times. Okay, now move up on the bait and do the same thing. Work your way through the bait, pulling that and releasing. Now what we've done is we've loosened the elasticity of that plastic. We've relaxed it. So now it's going to actually swim easier in the water. Now granted, we might be working this bait for a while. You can literally then take it back, put it in your hand, warm it up on the jig, and do a little bit of loosening again as you keep fishing. So that's the quick tip that I wanted to give to you today to help you get the most out of your plastics in cold water conditions. By doing just this, can really up your game and the amount of fish you might catch. Tight lines, everybody.